You, sir, have had an extraordinary career as a performer, as an artist, as a writer as well. Would you just mention for us what was your first Broadway show? What was your first show in New York? Let me phrase it that way.
I moved to New York in '94. I got the opportunity to sing for Hal Prince and his staff, and they were casting Showboat.
So the Hal Prince, the most famous director in the history of Broadway.
That's him. I've learned that. I had to earn my bumps that way because I came through the classical world, and at Northwestern we did a lot of opera study. We in my degree, and I wasn't in the music theater school, so I had to learn who Hal Prince was. I knew he did Phantom of the Opera, and I knew he did all this stuff. And
it's a somewhat successful show, yeah.
Yeah, just small, just little things like that. And he was putting together a revival of Showboat with a cast of 75 people. It's one of the biggest casts on Broadway. As I've always been a classical singer, I've always wanted to be on the big stage. When I was in fourth grade, the school in California, they put all these kids on the bus and we went down to the Paramount Theater in Oakland, California. And the parents could sign you up for $3 and you got lunch and, and stuff. And you get on the bus and the theater would be full of people. We do the same thing here.
Right.
New York, but you just, as a child, you didn't know that everybody else did that across the country. So they brought all the students in to do the dress rehearsals, which I found out what that meant because I had no idea as a student. So fourth grade, I'm sitting up there, the curtains open. I just knew there was a double-decker house on stage and people were screaming and having great time. And there was an orchestra and it was so many people on stage and they were dancing. And I was trying to figure out, and they were singing all this music. Well, fast forward to Oregon State where I got my undergraduate degree. Years later, I'm auditioning for The Marriage of Figaro. And the aria I'm singing is Non Pindrai, which is the same aria that I heard and fell in love with as a fourth grader back at the Paramount Theater. So my life went full circle. I ended up getting the lead in the opera I saw in fourth grade, which clinched the deal. I knew I found what I wanted to do. I came here to be on Broadway. I was on Broadway in Showboat. We closed that down. I did the national tour of Showboat, which I didn't know what those were. I have learned it. And so I did the national tour. I came back. My next Broadway show was 10 years later.
So you've got sort of a few different tracks that are going simultaneously now at this point in your life, where you have classical performance, performance, and you have musical theater.
Love it, hands down, love it, love it. American tradition, love it.
Yeah, and you also you have an album and a book.
Look at you! Wow, how did you know that, Mr. Matt? You've been reading.
Trying to do my homework. Somebody, a wise man, told me recently to do my homework.
I wonder who that was. Hal Prince. Thank you, and good night, ladies and gentlemen.
You have an album and a book out of African American spirituals. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's called Old Time Religion. The reason I did that book is because I went to Oregon State, and I had to do concerts. I had to do recitals and stuff. And at the end, I would like to do spirituals. And they're like, my accompanist would sit there sometime, and they cross their legs and go, "Another spiritual. Give me the hymnal." And I just kind of look and go, "Wow, what was all of that?"
What was all of that?
It was because accompanying singers in the classical genre means that you're playing reduced orchestra scores, quite frankly. So I started arranging my own music for my concerts. And that's how I started Old Time. I picked spirituals that I grew up as a kid, or things that I liked or wanted to learn, and I arranged them myself. And I was like, "We're going to play it, but you're going to play it like I play it." And they're like, so now it's like, "Oh, these chords are like," I was like, "Yeah, jazz. It's a lot of mixture of all kind of stuff, and don't just sit on that dominant seven with it. Don't just call it. You can't, because that has to resolve to something." You know what I mean? Yeah. And people always ask me when I do ACDAs across the country and I'm conducting stuff, and they're like, "Is it okay if I do a spiritual?" I was like, "Why the heck not? It's music. If it moves you, do it, But I just don't want to be offensive. And I've always been, I like community activism, yes. And I believe that even at Oregon State, when the little kids would cry when I walked in the room because they had never seen anybody like me many years ago. And, these kindergartners, I'm holding their hands, and all they're doing is trying to feel to see if that they look at their hands and they feel and they go, "Is it coming off?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not dirty," but the kids didn't know. This back in they just didn't know because you grew up in a place where there weren't any Black people. You just did not know, or you did not hold their hand. It wasn't because they didn't have nothing to do with racism. That's what you grew up with, right? So I start there, because like I said, Showboat, they dealt with miscegenation, Black and white people on stage together, and then Steve cuts her finger in Sex and Blood, said only takes a drop of blood in Mississippi, that whole thing, those, it's and in some ways has that changed? You kind of just see, it just makes you kind of go, wow, that's a good one for people to digest. And I was like, so my whole life has been about, I'm going to be part of the change or part of the education. And you don't have to be scared of me, but let's get along. We're going to try to be equals. And I'm going to try to just do my best to do my duty to God of my country, as we say, as an Eagle Scout. And just to do, and just to spread goodness. That's what I want to do. I was like, so let's talk about it. So my friends knew that I did this. So I ended up now doing podcasts for Black Lives Matters or just about how to get through the times that we're in right now. And that's politically speaking, everyone's got their thing, and I'm good luck on that. And I just go vote. That's what I tell everybody, go vote. But how to treat humans and how to find humanity and things that are similar are also important.
Well, thank you so much. This has been an absolute delight. Thank you for taking the time and for all that you do to stay creative and to lift others up.
Thank you. I think that we have to lift each other up, especially now. Like I said, we just breathe in, breathe out, take a moment to enjoy the beauty of what's around you, and enjoy the moment you're living in. You don't have to live in a moment that's not come yet, because that moment will come regardless. So if we're lucky. So enjoy the moment that you're in. Tell your people you love them. It's a blessing. Thank you. It's great. I look forward to performing for you all later tonight. Thank you again for all your philanthropy and whatever you're doing to keep the arts alive, especially live music. And I think I'll probably see you shortly, and perhaps a slightly different outfit. I haven't decided yet, but and we hope you enjoy this evening. Thank you again.
Thank you.